We're Batman at 89.
Hello, and welcome once again to Bat Minutes 89, the podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and leaf through the flaming wreckage of Tim Burton's 1989 Batman film, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
I am the other one of the hosts, John Parker, and I take between 5 and 10 minutes.
What?
It's a reference to later in the. It's a reference to the Joker.
Oh, right. That was genuine.
God damn it.
I thought this was is this some sort of weird innuendo you're trying to do to me?
It is a weird innuendo, yes, but it's what the Joker says. We're going to get to that.
All right. But anyway, we are once again joined for minutes 102 by the hosts of the Dark Knight Minute. You guys want to introduce yourselves again?
Yep, I'm Adam the Creator.
Yep, and I'm Darth Laric.
Wait. Well, what's this?
Who could it be?
Who's that?
It's very
I wonder
unprofessional.
who that is.
Hey.
Hello?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh my God!
Hey!
Oh, hey, it's Jake.
Jake, I thought you were dead.
Oh, I came back to life just for the podcast. I figured I'd crash the last minute just like Batman crashes his plane.
Oh.
Oh, Ben.
Oh, so you found the Lazarus Pit after all. That's great.
I did. And I'm alive, but I'm not as aggressive as most people.
Yeah. Is Jake Clark immortal? Or does he use tricks and misdirection to make you think that he is?
I'm not the first one. I'm actually a clone of the original, and then a clone of another clone of another clone.
Oh, so it's much like the Michael Keaton film Multiplicity, you're like a really watered down, inferior version of the original Jake Clark.
Yes. I like pizza.
Oh, another sick Ben.
I like pizza.
Anywho,
We're just tearing people apart left and right here. We're terrible.
but you realize we're just about to record the final episode, Jake. This is very unorthodox, but would you like to join us for the final episode?
If you'll have me, it would be an honor and a pleasure.
Well, I'll have to defer to John here, but do you think it's...
Well, as long as the listeners are okay with the chaos of 5 people on a podcast at once, then let's do it.
Yeah, group hug. Bring it in.
Yay.
Hey, new record. Right, guys?
But yes, so for minute 102 of Batman, we've got 5 people in the Bat Minute HQ. The minute 102 begins with Vicki Vale running towards the flaming wreckage of the Batwing, and ends 1 minute later with a shot of the flaming wreckage of the Batwing. So,
And the beginnings of an unholy union.
But yeah, one thing I will say, right straight away, man, those streets emptied fast because there's no one around now, and it's like not even police. There's nobody's here. It's just like, yep, everyone just left, and that's not a soul on that street whatsoever, except Vicki Vale, who does the incredibly unorthodox thing of running towards a flaming crash, which seems incredibly unsafe, but whatever.
She's worried about Bruce. Wouldn't you be? You just saw him get shot out of the sky and crash in a ball of flames.
Yeah, yes, by a giant elongated handgun that really wouldn't do any actual damage to a plane, I would feel.
We were wondering this on Wednesday. Yeah, like surely that would just bounce off it or put a hole in it. It wouldn't bring the plane down.
No. Like, it would have to be a very high-powered rifle, at least something 50 caliber to do any kind of damage. Now, it would probably be about that long in terms of the rifle, but there's no way that would bring it down. A little comedic effect and probably something that I could see in the comic books, but in a real-life movie, I don't see it happening, especially with that type of small type of revolver with the elongated, like you said, muzzle. And it's just like the gun would have to be a lot bigger because they do have high powered handguns, but they're like they're a lot bigger than what you see him holding, and there's
the actual gun part.
Yeah, like a 44 Magnum, right?
yeah, and like stuff like that looks that it's a lot bigger than that, and like the bullets are bigger, and so he would have had a bigger gun. And how did he walk with that in his trousers? Like
we were wondering that as well.
It's like, was he just like carrying it like and so kind of like limping, like he's just like, you know, he hurt his leg, but it's really he just can't bend his knee because the you know, the muzzle's so long. And so I was just like, he's a special Joker. He got beat up as a kid and just has a limp ever since, and that's how he becomes insane.
I do remember way back when we had the minutes of with Ratelli when he does the electric buzzer handshake. And we were talking that episode about like, oh yeah, Jack just kind of walks a bit stiff and weird here. And someone on the Listener Society, and I think she jokingly put in like, oh, it's because he has that really long gun down his trousers. That's why he's doing it. And John was just like, that must be it. That's the explanation. And I was like, John, no, that's not the explanation, dude. What do you think?
It's the explanation. Shut up. It is.
He always
Stop ruining
he always has that in his trousers. He's compensating for something a little you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we talked a bit about that last minute too, about how phallic that gun is.
The Joker, because you think about it, the Joker is the classic like overcompensator in everything from his laugh to his clothes to his actions. Like he always goes big or goes home, and I don't know. Like for me, that would just seem like it would just be very uncomfortable to walk unless he had like some hammer pants where like they're like super baggy, so it like gives him some leeway.
Well, I used to go to a monthly a night of music that have bands on and things, but I didn't want to pay the price of the beer there, so I had a coat where there was a hole in the lining, and I would line the coat with my own bottles of beer. So it would be inside the coat and up the sleeves and everything. So I'd be kind of walking a bit like the Joker because I didn't want them to clink together so the doorman would hear. So I'd be like, just casually walking through the door. Hello, sir. This is an ordinary coat. So I sympathize with him.
John Parker getting himself banned from every pub that the people who might be listening to this happen to own.
We'll have to get him one of those. We'll have to get him one of those special ties that looks like a regular tie, but actually can like hold liquor and like has a little like tap on it, so he can like.
What? This exists?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Niall, birthday present.
That seems like a thing the Joker would have as well. Like he would be like, "Can I get you a drink?" And all of a sudden he pours it out of his tie. But like, yeah. That's up his alley.
And then there's also a belt where the belt buckle's actually a flask.
Oh, that's amazing as well. We're missing out over here, clearly.
So many people have gone out of their way to hide booze. Like that's like really, it's a market that's really like, you know, people have tapped this of just like, yeah, people want to be able to sneak booze wherever they go. So we have to come up with different ways, like it's wine bottles you can hide in your shoes somehow or something like that. You know?
Well, John,
you got to remember that us Americans, we grew up. In our history, we have a history of prohibition, and so like we're the masters at hiding booze. NASCAR is born out of moonshine running, so yeah, it's part of our history. Our proud
is that
heritage.
Where that's actually from?
Yeah, that's how NASCAR started.
Is.
Yeah, that's how NASCAR started.
Oh my
it
God.
was they would race each other to see about having the faster car so they could run moonshine. And so
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
So now you can be NASCAR fans and just go get drunk. But also, John, when you're feeling kind of special and you're dressing up in your lovely lady outfit, they also have a bracelet that you can screw off a little bead and it holds alcohol.
That's amazing.
So it's just like you're just gonna have to get on and go Amazon shopping. And if you do go Amazon,
I'm gonna get all of them.
Yes, if you do go Amazon shopping, do AmazonGeek.geekmindfusion.com. we get a little bit of that, a little bit of a kickback, and you could help support the podcast, and we would love you for it.
I've been wondering if that works in the UK or not. I don't know if because you'd have to do Amazon.co.uk. I don't know if you can do that here. I've never looked into it. We should look into it, Niall.
Yeah. It's like if you want to buy yourself a Bob the Goon toy from Amazon, we get a little kickback every time you buy that incredibly old toy.
Well, speaking of looking into things, we should probably look into the minute again.
Yeah.
Vicky, she runs over to survey the wreck, and it's sparking all over the place. She's putting up with that, though. She doesn't care. She wants to save Bruce, but he's gone.
Okay, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is like crazy. This is like I wouldn't. It makes me sound terrible, but I wouldn't go near that. Like that's like if she even touched the metal, it'll be like scalding hot. So I would be more like, I'll just be trying to find like a fire extinguisher somewhere or something. I
She's
wouldn't just go in
panicking.
willy-nilly trying to
I would do that to save you.
I don't know, man. That's-
Niall, do you want to know what love is? Let Vicki show you.
Yes. Follow Vicky's example. Everyone should follow Vicky's example.
But it is quite odd, though, that within the shot here, we do see that like the cockpit is open and he is gone. So it's like, what's happened here? Is he fallen through the bottom?
Or did he eject?
Or like, how?
Yeah.
Because we do, you know.
I think he's ejected or he's climbed out of it and just gone away. See, to me, this reminded me of The Force Awakens. Or rather, The Force Awakens reminded me of this. With Poe, vanishing from the crashed TIE fighter, you think, oh, he's dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's actually escaped. He's gone. He's left. So it made me think of that.
Well, you say he's gone, though, because spoilers for what's coming up next week, but he's still in there. Like, he's under the wreckage. So it's like,
No,
he didn't just
that's a
disappear.
spoiler.
He's in the...
He's playing an elaborate game of hide and seek. That's just what he's doing. It's like he crashed, he hopped out, and now he's hiding, kind of wait to see what happens. He's just playing hide and seek.
I think he is.
Yeah,
I think
Batman
it's a plan.
Batman disappearing is usually something he does on Dark Knight.
I have a theory,
I think it's
though.
definitely a plan because he thinks Joker's going to walk over and like finish him off, is what I assume. So he's like, well, I'll hide under here and I'll take him out first. Or I mean, he's injured, but he's crawled like out. He needs to hide.
I have another theory, though. My theory is, so, he hits the street, he skids along, and then he like hits those stairs pretty hard, and that's when it blows up. I wonder if, as he hit the stairs, it tilts the Batwing out a little bit. I wonder if the explosion and that hitting the stairs was enough to throw him from the cockpit like onto the wing, and then the other parts of the wreckage like fell on top of him.
Oh God, yeah. Oh jeez.
Makes sense. This struck me as well. Like, I think this is a thing that, at least when he's making his Batman movies, it's a bit of a recurring motif that Tim Burton has. Like, in the final act, there has to be a huge flaming wreckage that someone has to look through. Because in Batman Returns, then when Catwoman does that, like, the fatal kiss to Max Schreck and the whole business of the generator, you have, after that, Batman comes across this big flaming pile of debris and just sparks everywhere, and he's looking in to try to find Catwoman as well. So it's it's kind of like a little motif that's running throughout both.
Yeah, the only other motif that reoccurs as often is like the long, shot that like goes through a bunch of different things at the very beginning of the movie. It's like every single Tim Burton movie has to have like that long panning shot somewhere.
But and of course, though, we get the Vicky's very concerned face here is slightly interrupted by the protrusion of the Joker's insanely long gun barrel.
Protrusion. Interesting choice of words. And again, it feels phallic, so to speak. Interesting choice of words. Sorry, because the way he's pointing it at her, this is where I started getting that vibe, the phallic kind of vibe, and it made me view the previous minute in a different light. Because it definitely seems to be, he's kind of he's showing off to Vicky, shall we say? Like, look at my gun, look at my weapon.
My gun is bigger than his.
And particularly because we do see in later minutes, he can, like, it's a telescoping thing. Like, he can bring it back in. You'd think just for practical purposes, at this point, he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to descend my gun now. But he is kind of like, nope, I'm gonna keep it long for a while just so she can see it.
It's exactly what it is.
Well, I feel like he needs to have a backup gun. Like, I feel like once he takes down the gun, just like whip out his little like Walter PPK, like, and just be like, okay, I've got my
extra tiny.
Yeah, just an extra tiny one.
Sorry, it's a little cold.
Like, it may have shrunk a little bit. Just like have it be black. It's like, all right, but like that way he doesn't have to carry around that giant one, because like that thing would not be. It'd be very front heavy, and like he'd be like pointing it at her, but like it'd really be like aiming like at her like knees.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, imagine even Jack Nicholson having to deal with this, unless like I'm assuming this is model made out of plastic, so maybe it's more lightweight. But like, yeah, you think he would be a bit more like the barrel will be kind of wandering all over the place, because holding it with one hand is going to be, if it's an actual gun, would be pretty heavy at the front. So you would have to be like, all right.
Well, with how heavy
Why is
that,
he not holding it with two?
I know, it's just like with how heavy that is, you feel like maybe like the tip might have broken off a couple times. They have a couple spares.
You can actually buy the prop of this, or you could. It was up for sale at one point. But one of the things, like, they had all the various details and whatnot, and said, like, the weapon originally included a 2-piece telescoping section of brass tube, one bin 1/32 smaller than the other, ensuring an airtight fit and making a virtually unnoticeable extension to the barrel. But by the time it got to being sold, that was gone. So I'm assuming it was a thing that easily broke off and just got lost over the years.
Oh, that's a shame.
It may be weird though if you bought that and then you brought someone around your house and it's like, that extending the Joker's really long gun from Batman? That's it. And they'd be like, where's the rest of it? It's be like, oh, it broke off. It's like, are you sure they sold you the actual gun?
Just any old gun they had laying around.
I remember that gun. I remember real good.
I have a question as well. Like, why does the Joker not notice or care that Batman's not there? Like, surely he'd be like, that's why he's come over. I know he wants Vicki, blah, blah, blah. First thing he should be doing is making sure he's took care of Batman. But he doesn't even check the cockpit. He's just like, whatever.
It's very... Well, I was going to say, it's very James Bond villain-ish, where he leaves James Bond to his death. And
which makes me think of Austin Powers. He's like, I'll just assume that everything went according to plan. Yes. It's Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. It's just cockiness. It's just like, yep, that's no way he survived that one. This is me. Everything's coming up Joker,
And it's just... Well, because like you think about like that Austin Powers where like they're in the room and the grate's opening on the floor and they're about to fall into some lava. And I did the air quotes as well. Lava.
Hey.
And it's like, and there's one guard guarding them, and they go and defeat the one guard, and like they escape. It's like, that's kind of how I feel. Like how like even in that cockpit, it's not very big. It's like you should be able to see Batman unless he has like a fake cockpit that he can hide in, that like, or like a little like hidden like lever where he like leans back and it closes so it looks like there's no one there, and then he can like open it and then like come back out. Like that would be like the only way not to like be able to see him.
That is an amazing stroke of genius. Now I want to see Batman with that.
Right?
That is great.
Well, he has like, depending on like which version you read and like how he gets into the bat cave, there's like I think in this one he opens up the head and like presses the button. I'm just trying to remember how he gets into the bat cave in Batman.
That's
89.
66.
Oh, that's 66. That's right.
And you only see him entering the bat cave via Batmobile in this one.
Yeah.
And it goes through like the script says it's like a holographic rock, which is very peculiar. I don't really understand how that works. Man.
Yeah, in the movie it looks more like a really fast garage door.
Yeah. Which is what I thought it was, but is equally as peculiar to me.
Well, but like you watch like those versions, and like there's ones where he in the animated series, like he goes through the grandfather clock, and then like and then in the Dark Knight where he plays the piano that opens the secret passage that takes him down there. And then
that is pretty cool.
And then in the 66, like I said, he has the head that opens up, he presses the button, and he slides down the pole. Maybe Joker was just a little pole envy. Maybe that's why his gun's so long.
That's my favorite is the thing we'll get to cover next year. The best entrance to the Bat Cave for me is the one from Returns, where it's just so needlessly dangerous. It goes in that kind of Iron Maiden-esque. Yeah. And all the spikes are still there, and then they come out and they slice down. It's like, no need for that, man. Like, why? It's just so neat. Again, it's just like it's like he's picking it up from the Joker now. It's like needlessly elaborate, needlessly dangerous, but hey, it looks cool to me, the one person who can see it.
Well, like
he looks badass going in an Iron Maiden.
well, like you think about it, like he would like no one else would go in there, like because like how often do you think people want to like step into an Iron Maiden and then like do that? So it kind of makes it like getting into the Batcave very difficult, because I wouldn't want to do that. And
what's the mentality in Batman Begins is like when he hits the piano, it's supposed to be like three really discordant kind of notes that no one would hit together. Is that the idea of just like, I'm just doing random notes that no one would ever hit in sequence, and they're really off key and off putting and stuff? Because it does seem like someone could be just tinkering around with the piano, and all of a sudden just like, oh, the thing opened here. Like, what's this?
Well, I feel like he was playing some Iron Maiden music just throw it back.
That'd be awesome, actually.
She's like just playing like 3 chords from Iron Maiden song, and
it's just Bale sitting down, just the hair going crazy, just head banging.
It's the number of the beast.
Speaking of music, right? I thought these church doors, I'm assuming it's the doors, or it's the facade, shall we say. I thought they looked like the pipes of an organ. And you do start hearing organ music. I know they're not actually, but I just thought that it looks like the pipes, which I thought was a very strange visual choice for the outside of the church.
I have to say, absolutely love the music in this bit as well. It's a piece you don't hear again throughout the rest of the film. But it is it's a weird tone to it. It's kind of like, it's that organ comes in and it's a bit melancholy, and it's got this little playful xylophone bit, and it's quite sinister and stuff. And it's quite strange. Like it's a really again I'm sung the praises of Danny Elfman in this film up and down, but like another real deft touch from the master right there.
Well, like when you said that it looks like organs, I thought about it too, but it made me think of the sea organ in Croatia, where like it has when the waves crash on it, it makes that organ sound. So maybe like they're designed to, like, when air passes through it, it kind of gives off that organ sound, be kind of creepy. It'd be something very Tim Burton-esque, I could see.
But imagine that in Gotham. Imagine just walking along and you keep hearing that all the time. It's windy. You're like, oh, for God's sake, shut up.
Well, that's what happened. That's how it is in Croatia. Like, I wouldn't want to live in that town in Croatia because it would be going constantly. And I only learned about this sea organ because of a lovely show, that used to have the host. Well, it now has the hosts of Top Gear on it. The British, the BBC version.
I can only apologize for
that. and then Jeremy Clarkson got fired because he likes to yell at people. Yeah. He pulled a Christian Bale.
He's even crazier.
Yeah. Yes. The thing is, like, I'm willing to forgive Christian Bale, but that guy hated Clarkson anyway, so it's just like, yep, good riddance. Thank God he's gone. And now it's even worse though, because he's doing adverts for the Amazon Fire Stick, which play before every movie in the cinema. So like, as soon as you go in, you're trying to settle down and enjoy a movie, and you're just instantly blasted with like, yes, this is the new Amazon Fire Stick. And it's like, oh, damn it, Clarkson, get out of my goddamn set.
What, we need some Captain Slow in there, I'm blanking on his name right now.
Oh, not James May.
The little one.
James May, James May. Need a little Captain Slow in there. I feel like he could sell you an Amazon Fire Stick.
Well, the Joker, though, here, he says, I've got to get you to the church on time. And he starts leading Vicki up the stairs with the phallic gun.
Well, he wants to give Vicki her his Amazon Fire Stick.
Yes, that's one great way of putting it. Because it did have that feeling to me, like he's... it was like an old movie or play, like a Phantom of the Opera type thing. Like he wants to lead her up here, almost to wed her.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's not literally taking her into the church to marry her, but it's got that kind of vibe, isn't it? He's taking her in to whisk her away.
Yeah, that's actually from it's a reference to My Fair Lady, I believe, because one of the songs is "Gotta Get Her to the Church on Time," or I think that's what it's called, or "Get Her to the Church on Time."
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Yeah.
As he does this though, because I made sure to make a note of this, he takes out his walkie-talkie. And like I remember there was a bit of confusion when he set off the balloons a couple of weeks ago, because I was just like, yeah, it's the walkie-talkie he uses later, and I was like, oh, you were like, no, it's a mechanism to release the gas from the balloons, and it's like, it's one of these things. It's both the same prop, but what he's done here is that when he's I've checked this now, when he takes it out for the balloons, the red because it's a green and red. Or like maybe it's
I would say orange.
Oh, green and orange, and then with a little extendo sort of antenna with a little red or orange ball at the end. But when he did it with the balloons, he had the blatantly blank orange back facing towards the camera. Whereas this now, as he's speaking into it, he's got it the other way around. So we can discern from that this is the same prop, and Jack Nicholson is talking into nothing. there's nothing, there's no thing, there's no little microphone or anything there. It's just
that sounds about right.
It's just like movie magic, people.
Well, then we get something that I thought, maybe I just have a dirty mind, I thought worked in two ways. It worked literally and as a sex joke, right? Because Joker, he says to pick him up in 5 minutes. And then he looks at the height of the building. And he says that actually him and Vicki are going to be 10 minutes. Now I thought, oh yeah, because it's a big building, it'll take him 10 minutes to walk up. But I also thought it was kind of like a little premature ejaculation gag as well. I was like, he's saying, yeah, I'll give her 10 minutes of heaven.
I do love that when he says it though, because it's like, Gotham Cathedral, transportation for 2, and then he winks at her. It's a real, like, he's, as we've talked about throughout, the Joker is nothing but a master of subtlety. But he's particularly laying it on very thick right there. Like, hey, me and you, baby, transportation for 2.
Well, like he gives her like that after he winks, like a very creepy and awkward, like you said, wink. He's like, oh yeah, it's like every creeper that ever was in a bar or, just like, hey, we're gonna have a good time, you, me, and my gun. But like I thought about it, like that cathedral looks really tall. It's like, that's a lot of stairs. I don't think at the time that he got up to the top of those stairs that he would have the energy.
I bloody wouldn't after halfway. I'd need to sit down.
This is one of this actual line here as well, though. This is a thing that I remember this was brought up quite throughout the years. It's a kind of famous anecdote. Apparently on set, the script was being continually rewritten, for various reasons. And then apparently when shooting this, the cathedral scenes, apparently Jack Nicholson, turned to Tim Burton. He was just like, why am I walking up all these stairs? Like, where am I going? Like, what's happening? And Tim was just like, we'll talk about when you get to the top. This scene right here, though, is just like, well, he's going to get the transportation up the roof. Is Jack, did he not read the script or something? It was like, unless they added that in later or something. But
yeah, because it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, this is very much like, yeah. I remember when I was a kid reading that anecdote and been like, he's going to get the helicopter at the top of the church. It's
the helicopter we saw earlier in the film.
Yeah, it's like, it makes perfect sense. Like, Jack Nicholson was just like, I'm nitpicking this script because no one else will nitpick this movie but me.
Well, I feel like you read the script and it's like, well, how are we going to get up there? Man, maybe they'll have an elevator and escalator. And then like when he showed him the stairs, he's like, you want me to walk up those? It's like, I want the truth. Do you want me to walk up these stairs? He's like, yes, I want. That's the truth. It's like, I can't handle the truth, of walking up all those stairs. And it's just like, I don't know, walking up all those stairs. Like you have like the people that walk up like the Sears Tower here in the States. And it's just like, and like that walk up like those really tall buildings. I'm like, that just like, that's a workout. And then like, I would walk up, but I would not walk down. I'd be like, someone carry me. Like if you watched the Office where Stanley has to take the stairs because the elevator's broken.
Oh yes.
And so they divide, like they knock him out with a tranquilizer. So they put down some cardboard on the stairs and then they put a helmet on him. And it's just like, they have to slide him down so they can get him to the sales call. It's like they probably did the same thing with Jack Nicholson. He just kept hitting all those walls going down. And that's how he became more and more insane over the years.
I mean, like I know because when I was in Paris back in 2008, actually, because I remember it was when The Dark Knight came out. Because I remember I was going around and they had all the posters for it because it says, the French title is Les Chevaliers Noirs. I was like, that's an even cooler title than The Dark Knight. That's amazing. How did they do that? Yeah, when we went to the Eiffel Tower, and we had like, well, you can pay €12 to get the lift up to the top, or you can just walk for free. I was like, of course we're going to walk, because I was like 20, and I was like, oh, I could do that, though. And then maybe about a quarter of the way, we were just like, no, it just can't be done. It can't be too many stairs. It's just too many stairs. It is literally nothing but just the same winding staircase forever. And it felt as if we were walking for about an hour, and we barely made it a quarter of the way up until everyone was just like, forget it. We'll go to this first viewing deck. Yeah, there you go. Let's go.
Is that your superpower there, Niall? Hindsight.
Yeah.
Super hindsight. It's like I've made a horrible mistake right now.
I am literally Captain Hindsight from South Park. I just come in to tell people what they should have done way back when.
Yes.
It kind of reminds me of the ending of Ghostbusters as well, when they have to go up the stairs too, and they show it realistically. They're just like,
It would be great if it just cuts now and just has that piano, that Elmer Bernstein like dun 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 dun. That's just Jack Nicholson came halfway up the stairs, just like, oh, how much longer is this? And then calling them back, like, I've got, I said 10 minutes. Make it like 25, because there's no way I'm getting up there in time.
In the world of the movie, obviously it's not real, but the novelization says that this cathedral is 800 feet tall, which would make it the tallest in the world. So that's insane in Gotham. That's crazy.
It's really just like the Joker, maybe trying to show off a little bit as well. Like, oh, of course we can make it up there in 10 minutes. And it's like, nope, no one could do that. It's physically impossible to do that.
It's a shame that this cathedral's not. We'll get to it. It's not featured in the sequel. That you do. I think there is. Do you see a cathedral or you hear the bells or something? But you don't see this cathedral.
I think the Penguin and Batman first meet outside a cathedral.
Yeah, but not.
But
this
it's not
one,
this
is it?
cathedral. No, which is quite strange. You think that would have been like a real prequel or a sequel thing of like, oh yeah, like outside where the last villain died. Here's where, spoilers for the end of the movie. Here's the site of where he died is where the new villain is introduced. Like, to our our hero.
Like handing off that baton, like as they're racing around. It's like, you're now the villain. You now carry this mantle.
Because then it's within that same scene as when Catwoman shows up as well. So it would have made perfect sense. But I guess they were like, nah, we're doing a whole redesign of different cathedrals and. It's a slightly different Gotham, and we got all this Max Shrek weird cat head thing everywhere and stuff.
Yeah, what I would have liked to have seen is, them going to the scene, and then you just look like at the plaza right in front of the church, and then you just see this outline of broken brick where Joker landed, and then you have like one of the villains just go down, touch. And they're like, we will continue your work.
Oh, yes. That'd be amazing.
I'm just like thinking that there's going to be like some like colorful like wake where there's a bunch of flowers and like pies for like the Joker and like brightly colored outfits. That's like, Joker.
Cream pies, of course.
Cream pies. And then like was like, we'll remember you. And so it's like it's a very somber moment. And then you just see like Catwoman look down, and then just like look at the camera and walk away. It's like, something's about to happen. Dun, dun, dun.
I would love that.
But like going back to that cathedral, that is a very tall cathedral. Secretly, the Joker's been hitting the gym, so he's actually like super buff. So he's like throwed like Vicki Vale over his shoulder, and he's like just like sprinting up these stairs and like not stopping for anybody. And he's just got like super huge legs and calves, and just being like, yeah, I've been working out all week. I've been hitting the spin class for you, baby. It's like we're gonna go all.
He invented spinning.
Yes, he did. And he's like, we're gonna go all night long, baby. I've got the energy of 20 men.
God, he probably would say something like that. To be honest, that fits his whole attitude in this movie. The wiki as well suggests that Batman knows this cathedral well, because it says he often hangs around this very rooftop. So, because it's so tall, he can hear the screams of people in need. From atop this very cathedral.
I mean, this will have to call back to something we covered way back in like minute 5, because I think within the wiki they say that first shot of Batman's silhouette, that's supposed to be from the top of the cathedral, which I didn't get at all. I think so. Yeah, and it's just like, well, I think we were joking around, going like, like he hears the scream, and then he's just like, oh my God, I'm not going down there. It's way too far. And, he's way too high up to actually be able to stop any crime, which is why he only gets, Nick and Eddie like 20 minutes after the robbery's already done. But I guess if it's on top of this 800 feet cathedral, yeah, that's like the worst place you could go. Unless you've got like that Arkham Knight, when he jumps off Wayne Tower.
Power dive. He's able to, like,
yeah. It's like that would make sense, but here it's just like, yeah, it's wildly impractical that you're on top of this giant cathedral, and then you're just like, well, better go. It's like,
and would you really hear people 800 feet up?
Yeah. Plus, then he has to walk down all the stairs because he's just like, oh, that's the only way down. I guess I could jump and then try to grapple, but like I'm not Spider-Man, you know.
Spider-Batman, Spider-Batman.
Yeah, this Batman is much less mobile, isn't he? Literally, he can't move his head, as we've established. So
Our Batman has a similar issue in Batman Begins. It's like
it's a lot better though. He can at least tilt his head like maybe I don't know, 30 degrees or 45 degrees left and right, but that's about it.
Considerably more than Michael Keaton.
Doesn't have to do the like what they call it, the hero's turn, which is the one you really see it.
Yeah, with the shoulders. Yeah, so turn his whole body.
We had it already when the Joker's helicopter first showed up. He had to do the whole body spin, and we do get a great one actually coming up. But either next week or the week after, when he's on top of the tower and he has to do a full-on spin to the camera.
It's amazing.
But the thing is, because I do have other notes for this minute, but I know you guys are a bit more pressed for time, or one of you is at least. And then because we have to kind of cover your history with the movie, so I'm willing to make these notes wait until next week because it's all church-based stuff anyway. So it's all stuff about the original script and whatnot. And I'm happy to just leave at because we've got a lot of walking up steps to cover next week. So it's like I'm happy to save material for then. If unless you fellows, you have anything, or John as well, you have anything you want to dish out for this? This
I only had one more note, which was a very simple one. Anton First, who we've brought up many times. He said of the building, specifically the outside, that's why I'm going to mention it now, that he basically stretched Gaudi into a skyscraper and added a castle feel, influenced by a Japanese fortress, which is a very strange combination of things, but I can kind of see it.
The more you know.
You get all the facts right here.
But because now, like we probably would have done this one episode at a time and had like the three of you guys been here the whole time, but now it's like the way things worked out. We'll have to do it all now, I guess. But
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry.
Okay.
That's not
Shame.
Shame. Do I have to walk around the town naked while you could throw, rotten fruit and vegetables at me?
Yeah, you don't have to, but if you choose to do it, then yeah, I guess it'll be depending on which one of you fellows wants to go first. But talk about your history of seeing this particular movie and maybe your history with Batman in general as well. So decide amongst yourselves which one of you wants the.
I don't know, Adam. Should you go first?
Sure, I'll keep it shorter. You can elaborate.
Okay.
So Luke and I are brothers, so we grew up watching this movie together a lot. My very first memory of this, I don't remember seeing it in the theater, but I remember, I was 3 when this came out, and I was probably about 4 when it came out to VHS, and my dad was downstairs watching it, and I came down, and I remember, I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but it's the scene where Alfred is putting the suit into the giant vault, and he's talking to Bruce about not wanting to mourn friends or their sons, and that's the first time I remember seeing it. I walked in at that point, and then we just grew up watching it, over and over and over again because my dad had bought the VHS so early. And yeah, that's my first memory of it. And then Luke can elaborate on some of the funny things that he dealt with this movie.
Yeah, I have a particular relationship with this movie. And like, as far as I can remember, I've been, a huge fan of the Batman animated series. And so like that was always like the kind of the quintessential Batman experience for me was dealing with the animated series. And I loved it as a kid, but yeah, I was like about 1 year old when the movie came out, so I don't remember watching the movie, but what I do remember is that the Joker was terrifying to me. Like everybody has like their childhood fears. Mine was the Jack Nicholson Joker. Like yes. I was absolutely terrified of him. So like I could not watch the movie for the longest time because I was just so scared of Joker. Like whenever, my dad would put it on or or Adam would go and watch gleefully, and I'd just like run away and like do something else just because I couldn't handle the Joker scenes at all. Yeah, it took me until I was 4 or 5 or something till it was like on TV, and this is a kind of a weird memory to really remember too. But it was showing on TV at the hotel, and everybody wanted to watch it, so they were watching it, and I was like standing in the corner too afraid, and then like it was like exposure therapy where I would like slowly inch toward the side of the television back to the bed, and then and then I finally kind of overcome my fear of Joker slowly and surely, and then after I was able to get over that fear, then I learned to really love and enjoy that movie. And it wasn't but I think I really started appreciating the movie like in between Batman and Robin and Batman Begins came out, because like there was kind of a period of time where I just kind of lost all interest in Batman after Batman and Robin.
That finished you off.
Yeah, it kind of finished me off, and then I heard about the new one coming out. I'm like, oh hey, yeah, Batman used to be cool. And then I go and watch the old Tim Burton movie again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where was this movie my whole life? I love this movie so much, and it just got me more and more excited for Batman Begins to come out. So yeah, that's kind of my very deep-rooted childhood trauma experience of the movie was Jack Nicholson. It just absolutely terrified me.
And now after spending a week talking about it with us, you're terrified of him and his phallic gun once more.
Yeah, for a completely different reason now.
Oh, that's awkward. Yeah, when 89 came out, I was 1, so I didn't really know like at that time, so I didn't discover a love for Batman until Returns came out, because by that time that came out I was 4. And so, but my parents had it on VHS, and then like as I grew up I started watching it more and more, and I kind of broke the VHS tape because I watched it so much.
God, remember that? Yeah. Destroying tapes by watching them.
I know. It's like you gotta return. It's like I was rewinding it, and all of a sudden I hear like it just like wouldn't stop rewinding because like the tape had broke, and I'm like, oh great, now I can't watch this. And then DVDs came around, and life was a lot easier. But but you know, I grew up watching Batman and then like Batman the Animated Series, but like in particular with this film, I watched Returns more than I watched the first one, just because at the time of it coming out, you know, I was 4, so I identified with that movie more than this one. But I still loved it, and I have a fear of clowns, but it's a different type of clown for me, so I can understand Luke's fear of creepy clowns.
Oh yeah,
because they use it again though in Returns. This is like as if Tim Burton was like, that whole scary clown aspect really worked. Let's just have like the Penguin's part of a circus. We got more clowns. Here we go. It's exactly in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, but I was never scared of Danny DeVito. He's just kind of like this small little man that just kind of makes me chuckle.
Although we really noticed this going throughout. Like, it's one of those things, like, within the internet, the talk there is, like, you always hear these things like, oh, yeah, everyone hates Ghostbusters 2, apparently. Unless you meet them in real life, then everyone thinks, like, oh, everyone loves Ghostbusters 2. And then, apparently, Batman Returns is supposed to be quite reviled. And yet most people we've had on the show are like, I love Batman Returns. It's my favorite one. And then I was at not a party. I was at a friend's house the other week, and she had one of her friends there, and I just sort of the topic of this podcast came up, and when I mentioned Batman, the first thing she said was like, "Oh, I love Batman Returns. It's one of my favorite films." It's just like, apparently people love Batman Returns, but don't ask the internet that, because apparently it's supposed to be terrible. But
which is really weird, because I've seen like lists where Batman Returns actually gets like top of lists on as far as like superhero movies go, and I always thought the original 89 version was better in my opinion. But
I'm a Returns man.
Oh, look, I think this is the better movie, but like, I mean, we'll get into that when we have to go through that whole second film as well. So I'm sure that'll get brought up countless times.
Yeah, I think it might have been just my personal history. Like I always have a connection with the first movie. Like my parents never got the VHS version of Return, so we never really watched it growing up that much. And so it was like on a very, very, like very special occasion when we would watch it. But now we have it on DVD, so I like to watch it every Christmas time. I see it as one of my Christmas traditions to watch Batman Returns.
Yeah.
I know, and for all of those listeners in the U.S., all Batman, 89, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin are on Netflix. Unfortunately for you people in the UK that don't quite have them there yet.
Yeah, we saw the news story go up the other week of like, all these Batman films are on Netflix now, and I went to look, and I was like, nope, no, they are not.
We've got them all though, Niall, haven't we?
I mean,
between the two of us.
Yeah, I've got access to them, but I don't have I've just got one remote to hand, and all I have to do is hit a few buttons. But I'd have to go up and physically get a disc and then put it into the player and stuff.
So exhausting, Niall. It's so exhausting to do that when streaming services.
I think you could rent it through like YouTube for like £2.50 or something. But like, I'm not paying £2.50 for a film I've seen probably about 250 times anyway. So.
It's true. Why would you ever pay to see a movie when you can just buy it once? Because like I'll rent a movie from time to time. Like here in the States we have a thing called Redbox. I don't know if it does that.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's basically like took place of like Blockbuster, where you can go rent a movie for $1 for a day, and as long as you take it back within a certain amount of days, you don't have to pay the full price for the movie. And so like I have but like for nowadays it's just like I don't want to go anywhere. Like I'll get on Amazon, like, oh look, I can rent a movie. $6.
Yeah, that's me.
Like that's ridiculous. But I'll watch it anyway because I didn't want to go to the theater and pay like twice that amount for a movie ticket. But it's the joys of this modern age where you can watch Batman on your cell phone anytime, anywhere is staggering to me because I love Batman. I've always loved Batman, even when it wasn't cool after the Schumacher debacle. But
all bat all the time.
Yes. And so I've loved this film, and I'm sorry I fell asleep and didn't wake up for the previous 2 minutes because
No, don't ruin the illusion.
Don't ruin the illusion. Jake, you just happened to drop in.
Yes, it just happened happened chance. And I wanted to discuss those other minutes, but when it's your wife's birthday and you're celebrating and you take her to a movie and you put your cell phone on silent. And you come back home and you set your alarm and you wake up and you roll over and it's a certain time, you're like, crap, they're going to be so pissed off right now. and so I apologize, but I love these films because I was so excited to be on the podcast, and I look forward to doing returns when we're, a year or two down the road, depending on what minutes you'll allow us to have.
And you think you're gonna get minutes for returns? You can't even show up for the full damn week of this one.
I'll make sure I'll set like 3 alarms, not one on my phone, so that way it's like no matter what, I'm up, I'm early, and then I will be like half an hour early, and then you'll just be like, Jake, you're too early. Stop this right now.
I've been like staying up the entire night before and just been like wired and coffee and stuff, and then like falling asleep mid-recording and saying, "God damn it, Jake!"
But that's just how it's gonna be. I'll stay up just late for you. I'll record at 2:00 in the morning and just stay up all day and all night and just be like, I'm here. I've got like 2 liters of Coke and I'm awake.
So before we go off into the dark night, once more, where can our listeners find your show if they're intrigued in checking it out?
Yeah, you can go to our website, geekmindfusion.com. We have all of our social media links there, our shows there. You can also find us on whatever podcatcher you like to use. Just search Dark Knight Minute. And yeah, we do we do the show the same way these guys do, and we just do the Dark Knight Trilogy, and we're having a lot of fun, so come over, check us out.
Yeah, make sure you do, because I'm sure your interests will cross over with that show. Like, if you like us, you'll like that. I don't see why you wouldn't. It's Batman. Everyone likes all Batman, surely. Come on.
Yes, we'll be a lot easier to find than Batman is in his Batplane, so...
Yes, and we are as well. We are on Facebook at the Batminute89 Listeners Society. We are on Twitter at Batminute89. And make sure to review us on iTunes as well, because we'll love you forever and ever and ever. And we'll give you a little shout out on the show when we remember. It'll probably be next season now. But yes, so do that and join us again on Monday. We'll be back with minute 103, and we will also have a new guest. See you then.
Next time, A Stairway to Heaven, with the Joker and Vicki pursued by a wraith in a place of faith. Will the bat bypassing a few pews go askew? Find out next week. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.